Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm from Ukraine, and I have decided to vlog daily since the start of this awful war with Russia. I did not plan it will take me a year or more, but I continue because I believe you have to witness our victory and I want to be among those who will tell you about it. So if you're new to the channel, go check some of my videos, and if you like them, subscribe. And by the way, we have a perfect community of people here. I very much value your friendship, your advice, your comments. And my today's video is actually a reaction to some of your comments and also to my personal emotions and feelings and the speech of Timothy Snyder, a renowned historian who speaks a lot about Ukraine, Eastern Europe, and many of you advise me to watch his lectures. But I have known Timothy Snyder and his works long before the start of full-scale war in Ukraine, and long before it was a mainstream, and I respect him greatly as he one of those strong English-speaking voices talking about the history of Ukraine and attracting attention to crimes committed here by a communist regime and especially Holodomor genocide. Of course, there are many Ukrainian historians who are now translated into English, and they are also worth your attention, but Timothy Snyder is always a good choice. So what is that term, that word that makes me angry and so many of you too? That is Russophobia. Well, if we look at it from this very shallow perspective, it means the fear of Russians. And many of you tell me that, okay, we don't have fear, we're not afraid of Russians, and I can tell you that we are not afraid of Russians. Because every hour demonstrates that we're brave, we're going to withstand whatever they plan because we have to win, and this is an existential fight. So definitely it is not about fear, and even if to avoid any pathos, I can tell you honestly that after this war started, we are less afraid than before it. Premonitions are sometimes worse than the exact event happening, and now we understand no time to be afraid. You have to be mobilized, you have to protect yourself, you have to fight back, and you have to win. So there is no place for fear. But of course, this term is used in a different context, and it appears pretty often in conversations, in various political speeches, especially of those people who don't want to equate this war to Russian war, but want to demonstrate it's just the Putin's war. I have a totally different opinion. I believe that Putin is the product of Russian society, and it is a mutually beneficial process. But anyway, many people try to depict Russians as victims and use Russophobia in another context, as if you don't have to be afraid of Russian language, Russian culture, or whatever. So at the very first start, I would like to retell a little bit the things that I consider super important in Timothy Snyder's speech that he made to the United Nations on the 14th of March 2023. I'm sure you can Google find it and check it, so it's pretty fresh. But one of the most important things that he says, that it is important to remember that modern history of Eastern Europe, modern history of Ukraine is very much about political crimes and genocides. And all of these political crimes and genocides are actually committed by, surprisingly, Russia. And another very important argument that I personally often use, and I advise you to use in conversations with those who doubt, is that some restrictions, sanctions, negative attitude towards Russian people, or Russian culture, or Russian cultural products is the result of Russian Federation politics, of war, of behavior of their society. Not a conspiracy theory, not that everyone is bad and decided to avoid or hate Russians, but this is their reaction to their actions. So who is responsible for this trend of so-called Russophobia? Russians, their actions, their hatred, crimes they commit, attitudes they demonstrate, sending threats, terroristic threats to the world. Well, all of that has some consequences, and this consequence is negative attitude towards Russian and some elements of what they call Russophobia. But who is to blame for that? Not West, not Ukraine, not aliens, but Russians and their politics. Also, another dangerous thing is that this term of Russophobia is especially popular in speeches of Lavrov, Putin, and others. They want to substitute and distort reality. And this distortion is very dangerous because what they do, they try to demonstrate Russia as a victim. Actually, aggressor becomes a victim if we choose to speak about Russophobia. And for decades, if not for centuries, Russians were taught that genocide is okay. Killing people is okay. If you watch Russian television, if you read Russian social media, you will be surprised at how often the official representatives, deputies, ministers, intellectuals, celebrities say that it's okay to kill Ukrainians. There is no Ukraine. Ukraine does not exist. And if they think they exist, we are ready to kill 1 million of them, 5 million of them. And this is what is spread and broadcast daily on official television, in social media. And millions of Russians consume that, accept that. So actually, if we want to worry about Russian society, we have to worry about these tendencies. We have to worry that daily people listen and agree that if someone disagrees with them, they can be killed. Millions of innocent people just because they don't want to be Russians, so they can be sentenced to death. And this is what we should worry about. And I think this is another very important argument that we can use and develop. And actually, the very idea of Russophobia, as Timothy Snyder claims, is inherited from the empire past. It's a very typical behavior for empires to pretend that they are actually victims when committing any kind of crime. But this is a dangerous tool, instrument developed during centuries of colonization and other stuff. They try to dehumanize us, for example, like Ukrainian people worth nothing. So don't you pay attention to their bodies, killed children, destroyed infrastructure, it's nothing. You better concentrate on Russia. And that we feel negative in these circumstances, and we feel it's Russophobia, and it is only the emotions and feelings of Russians that are important, and Ukrainians, like dead Ukrainians, they don't matter because what? Ukraine does not exist. And this is like a typical behavior of the empire when they totally dehumanize, demonstrate disrespect to Ukraine, its people, its culture, its language. They say it does not exist, and if it believes it exists, we will destroy it, we will kill everyone, and let's concentrate on how bad we feel because you don't like it. That's how they want us to think. So whenever you hear Russophobia, try to dig deeper and see what is actually behind that. And also, I would like to say that, to sum it all up, that there are lots of dangerous tendencies when super tolerant people who have never been under communist regime, who have never been attacked, bombed, who does not have a neighbor like Russia, try to find something positive in their society. I'm not saying it's bad to trying to find something positive, but you get distracted. And then you start feeling that Russians are also victims when they are not. And then you start thinking that Russophobia is just the same evil as what? Hundreds of thousands killed Ukrainian because of direct Russian aggression. Russophobia, even if it exists, is the result of Russian behavior, Russian politics, Russian choices, Russian indifference to genocide in Ukraine. And you know, a very typical comment in Ukrainian Facebook that will be difficult for me to render into English is "Моя русофобія недостатня," which can be translated as like "my Russophobia is not enough." And typically people post them under the photos of killed children, destroyed hospitals, and so on, like demonstrating that our anger is not enough. because they do worse things. Like, you cannot even react to the level of evil that they commit daily in Ukraine. But as a non-professional, like psychologist or something, I did not associate Russophobia with a disease. I associate it with fear, with phobia. And I can honestly tell you that I am not a Russophobe then, because I'm not afraid of Russians. I'm not afraid of Russians. And no one in Ukraine is afraid of Russians. We are angry. We hate them in this healthy hatred because we have to protect ourselves. But we're not afraid. So what is the term that we can substitute Russophobia with? In my mind, I have this Russo disgust, Russian disgust or something like that. Do you have any variants that would be interesting for me to hear? Please leave that in comments if you have any ideas. And thank you so much for your Ukrainophilia, for the fact that you love Ukraine and support my channel. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons. This means a lot, as we have many ideas that can help develop the channel and make more interesting videos. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for being with Ukraine. That is the most important. Slava Ukraini!